Hello everyone, today is 5th of November. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS folder. Today we will be taking a quote from the David Brin, who's an US author as well as a scientist. Guys, he says, when it comes to privacy and accountability, people always demand the former for themselves and the latter for everyone else. Now, this particular type of attitude has not only observed into the privacy and accountability, but also with respect to the rights and duties. So, when the rights are concerned, people demand them, but the duties, when they are concerned, people try to shrug it off. And this particular attitude impedes the transformation and genuine development into the society. Guys, we can directly utilize this particular quote in GS paper number 4, where the foundational values of the civil servants has been asked, and as general ethics are also concerned, this particular thing can be utilized. So that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now guys, let's first of all see the overview of the newspaper articles that we will be taking up today. So guys, this is the Hindu newspaper. This first article, it pertains to the elections that are going into the US, so we will see an overview that what is going on. Then guys, this particular news item, it talks about the recent direction of Supreme Court with respect to the matrimonial issues. Then guys, this particular article, it is talking about the separate courts that were established for the legislators. However, this particular article we had already seen. Then guys, moving forward, after that, into the regional section, nothing much important news has been given. It only pertains to the regional issues, not very much relevant. Then guys, one particular news is there, that is a study with respect to how much migrant they got the employment and how much are unemployed, so we can just use it as a reference point. Then guys, this particular, it is the editorial page, and onto the editorial, this particular article, it is talking about the recent issues that are going into the US. I will club it with the election article. Then guys, this particular article, it is talking about the economic reforms that are needed. We'll be seeing it. Then guys, this particular article, it talks about as how the fiscal disputes are there into the state issues. We'll see this one. Then guys, this little below article, that is a start status, it already has been covered when we were discussing the controversy where the Supreme Court revoked the star, has questioned the ECI with respect to the revocation of the star status. Then guys, on to the next page, these articles are not that much relevant. It is talking about the Bihar elections. This article is talking about the anti-Semitism issue, movement which is going, or a kind of a sentiment which is going on into the British Labour Party. Very much not relevant. Then guys, this article, it is talking about the nationalistic wave which is coming into the Karnataka politics. However, not that much substance. Then guys, the pages, they contain much of the political news. Much more important articles have not been carried here. Then guys, this entire page is about the US elections. Then the showcase page, not important. After that guys, even the world page is also filled with the US elections and all those things. Then guys, on to the business page, important news with respect to the economy has not been there. So that's all about guys the Hindu newspaper. And then this is the Press Information Bureau. Here we can see certain MOUs which has been signed. Just as a reference points, we can utilize it, we will see it. Then guys, an important news here is today, that is with respect to the Ministry of Urban Development. Here we can see that the Nurturing Neighborhood Challenge has been talked about. So guys, very important reference, we will see this thing. Then guys, apart from this, we will be taking one article from the Live Mint also. It is talking as how regional media can play an important role into the cleaner politics. So guys, this is all about this. Into the Business Standard and Indian Express, some very good different articles have not been there. So that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now guys, this particular news article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is basically mentioning the US presidential election that are going on and a tough competition which is there between the Donald Trump and the Joe Biden. Now guys, we will be taking up a clarity on it, on all this particular controversy which is going on. Now guys, first of all, this particular article, as it might have been published by the Hindu at that point of time, this was the count, but it has now been changed and has turned more into the favor of the Joe Biden. However guys, a final ultimate result has not been out even till yet. Now guys, I will tell you what actually has happened. So from so many days we are seeing that the presidential elections were due into the USA. Now guys, this year's particular elections are little bit different, because this year the postal ballots, they have been sent in much larger numbers because of the restrictions that were imposed into the wake of the present health crisis. Now guys, if we see the position into the US election, then guys, the 270 has been called as the magical number. Now, guys, you can see here the map of the USA. Now, every state it has been given some particular number of the electoral votes. Now, if a state is big, then the number of electoral votes to that particular state will be more. But if a state is small, then the number of electoral votes for that particular state will also be small. So, at least 270 votes are to be needed. Now, guys, up till now, the Donald Trump got 213 electoral votes and Joe Biden got 237. Now, guys, what has happened? There is a particular region into the US which is called as the Rust Belt. Now, the region such as the New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, this particular belt is called as the Rust Belt. But first of all, why Rust Belt? Because it means that this particular region was once upon a time was a thriving center for the automobile manufacturing, for the industrialization, for the capital good manufacturing. But now the deindustrialization is going on, economic decline is going on, depopulation is going on. So therefore this particular region is called as the Rust Belt. Now this particular region is having a kind of a history that they actually swing the election, fine, and actually without even the final vote counting has taken, the Donald Trump had said that he had won the entire Rust Belt. Now this particular thing is coming, that how he can claim this thing even when the voting is not fully counted and the trend is going clearly into the favor of the Joe Biden. Now, guys, into this particular thing, swing states will actually be deciding this entire matter. However, guys, as there might be a sense that the Joe Biden might be becoming more victorious into this particular thing, the Donald Trump had also made one more declaration that he will be moving to the US Supreme Court because he believes that the postal votes which are coming, there is a kind of a fraudulent which has happened, and into a kind of a disorganized way the vote counting is going on. So he had threatened to move to the US Supreme Court. Now his step to move to the US Supreme Court also holds a strategic point here, because guys, a few days back we had seen that the Donald Trump had appointed the new US Supreme Court judge, that is the Amy Coney Barrett. And guys, as I had told you, into the US Supreme Court judge, as there are 9 judges into the US Supreme Court, always there is a kind of an ideological difference. That is, on one hand, there are the conservative judges, on to the other hand, there are the progressive judges. And as Donald Trump belonged to the Republican political party, the ideology of the Republicans as well as conservatives, they are nearly, it is basically, it is synchronous to each other. And even as the Amy Coney Barrett has been appointed by the Donald Trump only, there is a kind of an expectation that little bit the judgment might go into the matter of the Donald Trump also if this particular thing is appealed. But guys, this particular thing actually, if I tell you, will not be having that much implication, because the Donald Trump, if he want to take the matter into the court, then that particular thing has to be taken on to the basis of some substantial legal ground. In 2000, an election dispute was solved by the Supreme Court, but that thing held a substantial legal ground. But here, that legal ground is not there, only a speculation is being taken out. So, guys, that is all about this particular thing which is going on. And as within 2, 3, 4 days, all the postal ballots will be arrived and the counting will be completed, it will actually be revealed that who becomes the next president of the United States. So, guys, that's it. Now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it pertains to the personal civil laws in our country. Now, guys, what has happened here? Before that, I will give you some background. Now, in our country, there is a section number 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code. And this section 125, it says that a husband or a father has to provide the maintenance to the wives, to the children, and to the parents if he has eligibility to do that particular thing. So if a divorce has been given to the wife is legally entitled to receive the maintenance, as well as the parents are also legally entitled to receive the maintenance from the son. But guys, from so many years the question has been raised onto this particular provision, that is, it has been provided into section number 125, he if he is eligible. Now a question of sufficient means come. Many a times the children, the son or the husband has not provided the maintenance money because he says that he himself is not having any kind of employment or any kind of means to give it. And onto this particular thing, many a times the divorced wives, they have faced much economic miseries and injustices. So guys, from so many years years this particular matter was going on. Now the Supreme Court has given a kind of a uniform comprehensive guidelines to all the family courts, lower courts and magistrates, and they have said that the maintenance has to be given from the date when the particular matter was applied, and it actually don't matters whether the person is having any source of income or not. Guys, it has been said that if the son is having the physical basically if he is not physically crippled and if he has been educated, then there is the moral responsibility to help the dependents, and he cannot evade that moral responsibility even onto the grounds that he is not having any permanent employment. So this particular thing has to be done. So, friends, by this judgment, a long held dispute has been resolved into the favor of the dependents. So, guys, this is all. And as in GS paper number 1, social issues have been mentioned, there this particular thing can be very much relevant. Now, guys, as we are talking about the social issues, guys, few days back, there was also the Vinita Sharma versus Rakesh Sharma judgment, where the daughters were given the rights of the co-partnership. Already we have discussed that particular thing, so these kind of issues are very much relevant here. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this article I have taken from the Live Mint newspaper, and it is actually providing a very good insight for the cleaner politics. Now, first of all, before going into this particular news item, we will be talking about some background information. See, always it has been said that India is facing the criminalization of the politics, and even the Association of Democratic Reforms provide that 43% of legislators into the present Lok Sabha, they are having the criminal background, and out of this even 29% have the serious criminal charges. So this particular thing is very much problematic. From time to time, the Election Commission of India had tried to bring certain reforms. For example, Election Commission of India said that all the criminal background, their antecedents, they have to be given onto an affidavit by the person. Then it has also been said that the political parties also need to provide that if a criminal person is being floated, then why he has been given the ticket, why other clean candidates were not given the ticket. Now, guys, all these clarification etc were provided onto the websites, but we know that in India the literacy rate and actual accessibility of the websites by the common people is very much low. Now, guys, how to clean the politics into this particular circumstance? So what happened, a study was conducted into the Mexico, and its report was published into the Economic Journal. Now, guys, this particular study had actually said that often we talk about the national media, that it can clean the politics, it can sensitize the people, but no, more important than the national media is the regional media, because regional media is much more seen, it is much more there into the vernacular language, and it can into more better way can educate the voters about their local candidates, their performance into the past elections, their credentials, how much they are prone that they will be bringing the genuine development, and all these particular kind of things. So the regional media can provide the informed news. And guys, it has been said that when the local media was more prominent, then the vote share of the corrupt incumbent legislators had actually went down into the Mexico, and the people who have done the good performance, they were rewarded. So a clean politics can be assured if the local media is provided much more attention. Further, guys, it has been said that what local media can do, local media can audit the fund execution by the sitting MLAs and MPs, and before the election a pre-election fund audit can be presented to their viewers, and by this particular thing even the viewers can make the informed choices. Moreover, guys, sometimes even the national media weakens the local media. How? Because all the TRP, all the coverage is provided to the national media, but we know that the national media's limitation is such that only they can pick up the nationally relevant issues, and into this particular way a village needs a performance of a MP into a very small town, they are often overlooked. So guys, this is a very good and innovative viewpoint which you can provide into your answers. So guys, in GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3, it becomes relevant. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and this article is actually talking as how the economy needs to be fixed up. Now, guys, this article is relevant for our GS paper number 3. Now, it has been said that India is right now seeing an economic crisis, income crisis. Into this income crisis, the people who are at the lower end of the income pyramid, their incomes are constantly going down, whereas the incomes of the people at the upper end of the pyramid, their incomes are increasing up. So, a kind of an inequality, income disparity has been created into our economy. Now, the solution for this particular thing is provided onto the three lines. Number one, open up the market. Number two, free the labor. And number three, bring more and more kind of technology. But how this particular thing is overhyped, it has been explained here. Now guys, when we are talking about freeing up the market, it has been said that as agricultural reforms were carried recently onto the such line, more reforms are to be carried. Now after agricultural reforms, the farmers are more free. They have more choices where they want to sell the goods. They can go into the contract, and actually it will be helping for the better price discovery, it has been said. Then, guys, with respect to the freeing up of the labor, the recently announced labor code bills, it has been said that they will free up the labor, and by this particular thing, the wages will be increased. And it has been said that even government want that the wages of the laborers should increase, because these people are the market. And if their income will be very much low, how they will provide a kind of a market for the high value goods? And if there will be no market for high value goods, obviously new investment will also not be coming. So by freeing up the wages, by freeing up the labor, the actually government is trying to increase their wages, which can actually help in the overall development of the nation. However, guys, it has been said into the article that all these arguments and these justifications are misplaced, because the free market for labor means a kind of a wage relaxation onto the part of the industries. They will then be themselves decide that what is the minimum wage, what is to be given. And actually a kind of a slave market will be created in our country, where the cheapest labor will be hired and the expensive laborers will not be hired. And this particular thing is actually problematic for our country. Now, it has been provided into the article that rather than focusing so much onto the making it easy for firing the labor, government should actually focus onto the productivity. Now, first of all, we need to understand that what is productivity. Productivity is the ratio of input versus output. So if input will be less and the output will be more, then this particular thing means that the productivity is less. Suppose you are investing 1 rupee of raw material, and if you are getting the product worth rupees 10, then it denotes that the higher productivity is there. Now, how to increase this productivity? It can be increased in two particular ways. First of all, as there are the laborers, okay, you keep those number of laborers, supplement those laborers along with the machines, along with the technology, and into a long term, a kind of a productivity will come. Now this particular strategy has been adopted into the developed countries, and it is a very capital intensive kind of work where the automation, industrialization, all these things are done. However, there is one more strategy also. You work on enhancing the workers skill. A kind of a culture of continuous improvement should be imbibed, and output should be squeezed from their hard work only. This is called as the total quality management, and it has been adopted by the Japan. Now what Japan does, Japan actually signs the lifetime contracts with the workers, where Japan promises them that the continuously your skill will be upgraded, and by that particular skill, higher and higher output is taken from them. It has been believed into the Japan that human beings are the only assets whose value appreciates with the time. You see the machine, labor, everything's value decreases, but the human's value increases. Now it has been said that world over, there are the lazy management practices, which actually works onto the strategy of hire and fire. When there is need, you hire them, and when there is no need, you fire them. But into this firing, you are actually firing the appreciable assets which might have improved into the times to come and had provided you actually good returns into the long term. But this kind of vision or foresight is missing. And similar kind of thing will be done in India also, when you are bringing the labor code bills. For example, into the labor code on industrial relation, it has been said if a firm is having only 300 employees, they don't need to take any permission to fire the employees. Now firing is not a way, rather you need to keep them, and their skills are to be improved. improved. Guys, it has been said by the Schumacher into his book Small is Beautiful that industrialization is actually a Western concept where the automation, machines, and all these things are suggested. And guys, actually, into the country such as India, where already labor is so much high and the capital is less, there such kind of things are not needed. Actually, when into India like countries we bring the industrialization and machines, it destroys the traditional workplaces, and even the new workplaces are not created at that speed at which the workplaces are being destroyed, and into the long term it creates a mass of unemployed people. So it has been said that right now we need a social contract where we don't fire the employees, rather we can give them an assurance that they will be taken care of, they will be upgraded, they will be made much more useful with the passing of the time. So it is not a humane approach that when the worker is not relevant to you, you just discard him. Rather, you need to find a way that how he can be involved into some other venture where he can deliver the productivity. And onto the line of Japan, the lifetime contracts, we need to learn something from there. So guys, this is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken again from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking that what are the issues of the fiscal federalism or the fiscal federal irritants between the center and state relation, and therefore it is important for our GS paper number 2. Now, guys, it has been said that when we talk about the development, states are the major role players into this particular thing, because actual expenditure onto the development, for example, the health, education, law and order, etc., they have to incur. But in our country, the hands of the state, they are very much tied, their financial capacity is very much weak, and deliberately the center has done this particular thing. Here certain examples are given. For example, guys, we'll take first of all the issue of the GST. Now by GST, center has further undermined the state, as guys earlier the state were having the autonomy with respect to raise their state level indirect taxes, but by coming of the GST, this particular thing has completely been eroded, and now the states are they are dependent onto the mercy of the center. And as the center had just recently announced the pandemic 2 as an act of God and had denied the 3 lakh crore rupees of funding, that particular thing shows that how vulnerable states are onto the center. Guys, a further example have been given which are something new. For example, the finance commission's example has been given. It has been said that actually the finance commission in last few years had progressively talked that the state should be given more funding. For example, even the 14th finance commission said that the money or the total percentage of share that is to be given to the state is to be 42%. Earlier it was 32%, and from here it has increased nearly 10 percentage points. But even after that, actual money which has been transferred to the state, it is going down. Guys, it was said that in 2014 and 15, actual devolution was 14% less than what the finance commission recommended, and in 2019-20 it was 37% less as what was suggested by the finance commission. And in totality, if we see in last 5 years, 8 lakh crore rupees less have been given by the center to the state. And this is actually suggested by the article, as it is happening for the first time that the government is not listening to the financial commission's recommendations. Though guys, that is also true that the financial commission's recommendations are recommendatory, but till now as a convention goes, more or less they have been abided, but now government is not abiding it. Further, guys, it has been said that although the state's autonomy is being crippled, the center, if for itself, it has kept an ample legroom. How it has now carried its resource mobilization via the cess and the surcharges. Right now, guys, there are nearly 35 cesses which are operational, and as you might be knowing that the money which is collected by the cess and the surcharge, it is not to be shared by the state government. So therefore the center is receiving now more and more money by the cess and the surcharge. Guys, it has even replaced the higher tax rates with the new cesses and the surcharges. For example, onto the petrol and diesel, this thing has happened into the last 5 years. From 9.3%, the surcharge and cess onto the petrol and diesel, it has increased to 15%, and much more money is being raised by this. Then, guys, the GST compensation cess is also a new type of cess. Now, this was said that the GST compensation cess is being just levied so that the money can be raised from here and that money can be given to the state. But, guys, if we just leave the 2020 year, then, guys, into the previous years, excess money has been raised into the GST compensation cess, but it has not been shared with the state government. Moreover, now government has actually said that the GST compensation cess will continue even after 2022, but it has not been clarified that actually the money which is given to the state out of the GST compensation cess, that will also continue. So guys, all these particular matters are there, and by these particular things, the state's room for the fiscal autonomy is being taken up, and it is not a good precedent into the wake of the federal relations. So guys, that's all which was provided into this particular article. Please do utilize it in GS paper number 2. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is just a factual information which you can utilize just as a one liner reference if you are writing any answer onto the wake of employment, onto the reverse migration which happened and its effects. So, it has been seen that nearly 56.5% of migrants who went back, they have not been given any kind of employment, and this is with respect to the people from Madhya Pradesh who had returned back to MP. Moreover, guys, it has been said that 67% of the people who returned back to their states, they said that they were facing the kind of a fiscal crisis, and they appealed from the government for some kind of remuneration or for some kind of relief. But 90% of them have not got any kind of relief, and it shows that the state failed to come for the rescue of the people. Now, the sample size into this particular survey were 1500 respondents. Okay, so but this can indicate that what is the level of crisis which is going on. If you find an opportunity, you can utilize this particular data. So guys, that's it. Now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been taken from the PIB, and here very good two references have been given here which you can use it in your answers related to the urbanization. Now, this particular initiative which I will be talking, it has been taken by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Now guys, what has happened here? The Nurturing Neighborhood Challenge has been started. Now, Nurturing Neighborhood, it is a 3-year initiative where the reimagining of the public spaces, parks, footpaths, and all these particular thing is will be done, so that the quality of life for the children, the caregivers, the old age people, it can be improved. Particularly guys, for the children, it has been said that into the first few years of a children's life, his neural networks are built, and if there a child is not given the good environment, good recreational place, then he might not be able to learn full of its potentialities. And now the the cities have become so clamped that there are no such avenues for the recreational activities. So that particular thing will be developed. Into this particular regard, the assistance is being given by the Netherlands, that is the Bernard van Leer Foundation. Then guys, other initiative is the DMA. DMA is the Data Maturity Assessment Framework. Now guys, all around the world, the cities are being driven by the data. They generate the data. On to that basis, they further formulate their policies, they learn from the data, and all such kind of thing is very much important. And now guys, as we are talking about India, we have started the smart city mission, where the 100 smart cities are to be developed, and those smart cities have to be developed onto the data. They need to be the data driven cities. So for that particular thing, the data maturity assessment framework is also being developed, so a culture of data can be established. And for that particular thing, the training program for the professionals, etc., will also be started by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So guys, these two initiatives provide them for making the better urbanization and to make the livable sustainable cities, and also you can attach with the ease of living in India. So guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this attachment has been taken from the PIB, and it is actually outlining certain of the MOUs which have been affirmed by the cabinet. Now guys, these kind of MOUs, you don't need to go into the detail, because never in a UPSC a question on a specific MOU will be coming until and unless it is some very big kind of thing, for example the BECA, but we have already discussed it. Now these are the understandings which are continuously going on. However, if you are writing a country specific question into the IR, there you can just give a reference into the one line. So an MOU had been signed between the India and Spain for the development of the scientific and technical collaboration into the astronomy. Then guys, a MOU has been signed between the India and United Kingdom for the cooperation into the field of telecommunication and ICT. Obviously, if ICT is there, into the e-governance, good governance also it will be helping. Then guys, MOU has been signed between the India and UK onto the cooperation into the medical products regulations. Now guys, medical product regulation, it will be containing the things such as the diagnostics, the testing, the medicines, and all these kind of things. Then the MOU has been signed between the India and Israel onto the cooperation into the field of health and medicine. And guys, right now we are seeing that extraordinary times are going on, so there such kind of cooperations are very much important. And guys, Israel, if you remember, just 3-4 months back, guys, Israel had actually developed a kind of a test which can diagnose the presence of the virus onto the basis of voice samples also. So Israel have been on very much forefront, and cooperations with the Israel can help us into this direction. So guys, just have a reference so that you can write it in one liner, don't need to go into the deeper details. So that's it. I hope guys that you are liking our initiative. That's all for today. Thank you so much.